The last survivors on Earth awaken an ancient power to stay alive among the infected. But can they stop the Guardian if he decides that humanity itself is the true source of the plague? Lithuania, 1673. In a small, isolated village lives a close-knit Jewish community. Hannah, a married woman, has endured devastating grief. 7 years ago, her son Joseph drowned, and ever since, she has refused to have more children. Hoping to prevent another pregnancy, she seeks out the village healer, Perla, asking her to sell a protective potion. Later, she sneaks into the monastery cellar, an area only men are allowed to enter. By tradition, only men can access books and sacred scriptures, but Hannah's curiosity is stronger than any rule. Knowing her interests, her husband Benjamin secretly steals and hides several books, and when he senses her hiding beneath the floorboards, he glances down, letting her know he's aware she's there. Believing that after 7 years of tragedy they are owed 7 years of happiness, Benjamin pushes the beds together and suggests they make love. Before they do, Hannah quietly drinks the potion to avoid any consequences, and takes great care to hide this from her husband. Afterwards, they each return to what brings them comfort. Benjamin plays his violin, while Hannah searches through the scriptures, desperate to answer a single question: why did God allow their son to die? The next morning, Hannah and her younger sister Rebecca walk into the forest to a mountain lake, preparing for her upcoming wedding. Rebecca performs a ritual cleansing and confides her fears about marriage. Hannah comforts her, but the reminder of her deceased son weighs heavily on her heart. Her mood darkens even more when she notices a man wearing a plague doctor mask standing nearby. Terrified, the sisters run, but soon hear strange noises behind them. Pushing through the thick underbrush, they reach a neighboring village, where the few survivors are burying the victims of a raging plague. Realizing they've been spotted, Hannah and Rebecca flee home. Meanwhile, Benjamin visits Joseph's grave, still deep in mourning. A few days later, Rebecca marries a man named Jacob. As a devoted Jewish woman, she strictly follows tradition, circling her groom 7 times, since the number 7 symbolizes happiness and divine favor. But the celebration is abruptly interrupted by a group of peasants from the neighboring village. Wearing plague doctor masks, the men haven't come to wage war. They have a single demand: heal the dying daughter of their leader, Vladimir. Convinced that the Jewish villagers have cursed his people, feasting and drinking while others perish, Vladimir refuses to listen to reason. The rabbi tries to explain that their survival is due to isolation, not a blessing or curse. But Vladimir ignores him, shoots a villager in the head, and declares that he is stronger than God, so he will decide who lives and who dies. In a moment of desperation, Rebecca attacks Vladimir, but he punches her in the stomach and orders the villagers to do whatever it takes to save his daughter. If the girl dies, he will burn the entire village to free his people from their curse. Realizing the danger they are all in, Perla steps forward and agrees to help. Before leaving with her, Vladimir gives a final warning: anyone who tries to escape or leave the village will be executed on the spot. To enforce his rule, he leaves several of his followers behind, brutal killers ready to murder anyone in their path, whether man, woman, or child. After the incident, all the men of the village gather in the monastery, where the rabbi calls for prayer and announces 3 days of mourning for the villager killed by Vladimir. Breaking the rules, Hannah bursts into the men's assembly to demand action. She insists they shouldn't pray or beg for mercy. They should fight back with equal force. Knowing the sacred scriptures and the 73 special letters, she claims she can summon a golem to protect them. But the rabbi argues that no ordinary person can wield such power. The magic is far too dangerous and forbidden. Since women have no rights within the community, Hannah is ordered to leave the monastery immediately and stop proposing impossible plans for revenge, plans that could lead to the destruction of the entire village. A little later, Perla begins treating Vladimir's daughter, using whatever herbs, tinctures, and medicine she has on hand. Vladimir repeats his threat: if Perla fails to save the girl, Svetlana, the most precious thing he has, he will burn the village to the ground. That evening, the rabbi gathers a minyan, a group of 10 men whose task is to pray without rest. The villagers believe that such a ritual unites their strength and grants it a kind of mystical power, one that could heal Svetlana and compel the intruders to leave their land. Meanwhile, Hannah learns that Rebecca has taken a turn for the worse and is being cared for by a nurse. When she visits her sister, Hannah realizes the truth. Rebecca lost her baby at the moment Vladimir struck her in the stomach. Worse still, her condition continues to decline, and she will die without a doctor. Yet they cannot leave the village to find one. Consumed by desperation, Hannah decides she can't wait for divine intervention. She must create a weapon capable of protecting her people. Back home, she locks herself in the attic and begins poring over sacred texts and hidden writings. Discovering a secret code that unlocks the path to the holy letters, she uses threads, her own blood, and a piece of her flesh to obtain the forbidden spell. Writing the incantation onto a small scroll, Hannah slips into the remote forest. To complete the ritual, she needs untouched earth, the shape of a human body, and specific symbols. A heated mixture poured in the shape of the Star of David brings the ritual to its climax, until Hannah suddenly grows weak and collapses. When she wakes the next morning, she inspects the ritual site and notices that part of the earth is missing, leaving behind a shallow pit. Not understanding what happened, she is overwhelmed with frustration and hopelessness. Back home, Hannah takes a bath, her mind drifting again to her lost son. It has been 7 years since Joseph's death, but the pain is as sharp as ever. Climbing to the attic, she opens a large chest filled with old belongings and her son's favorite toy, a doll with little bells that chime brightly with every movement. In the evening during dinner, Hannah hears a strange sound coming from the attic. At one point, she thinks someone has taken her son's favorite doll and suspects it's thieves. She goes upstairs but finds no one, only to discover that Joseph's beloved toy has vanished without a trace. At the same time, Benjamin senses a presence in the house. Someone, or something, has taken up residence in their home, hiding in the shadows and making faint noises with a rag doll. At one point, the unknown entity throws Benjamin's violin to the floor, but he sees no intruder. He also finds a jar of liquid under the mattress and quickly understands its purpose. This discovery sparks an argument between the couple, as Hannah had been using the liquid to prevent a second pregnancy. Frustrated with his wife for rejecting God and the gift of children, Benjamin leaves, unaware that something is still lurking in the house, watching from the shadows. The next morning, Hannah wakes up to a restless horse and rushes to the barn to make sure it's all right. There, she notices a strange silhouette of a dirty little boy sitting in the distance, playing with a doll, but in the next moment, he vanishes without a trace. Hannah realizes the boy looks eerily like her son, and it drives her nearly insane. Determined, she decides to return to the forest where the ritual took place, but there she is ambushed by Vladimir's men. 3 men chase and capture Hannah, planning to execute her by hanging. Gasping for breath, she watches as someone attacks the criminals, brutally killing them and tearing their bodies apart. Falling and freeing herself, Hannah realizes it's a golem, a powerful protector taking the form of her deceased son. Treating the golem with the same love she had for Joseph, Hannah brings him home. Fearing the boy's immense power, she temporarily isolates him in the barn to figure out what to do next. Meanwhile, Jacob tells Benjamin he has managed to get a firearm. Armed with a pistol, he wants to go after Rebecca's attackers and avenge the death of the unborn child. Knowing that such a method would be unacceptable, Benjamin asks his friend to wait and come up with a safer, more effective plan. That night, a heavy rain begins, and Hannah shows compassion toward the golem. She invites the boy into the house, offering him a bath to wash off the dirt. As she sees more of Joseph in him, Hannah begins to love the golem, forgetting that he is an artificial protector, a creation of earth, clay, and sand, and in some ways, a monster. Perla visits Hannah and notices the boy, who looks exactly like Joseph. Realizing he is a golem, the healer feels disappointment. She understands that while it possesses immense power, it also carries a dangerous potential for destruction, capable of wiping out all living things. Perla explains that their people are both powerful and mysterious. Their history is so tangled in legends and stories that it's hard to separate truth from myth. But the existence of obedient monsters is one of the most real and terrifying chapters of Jewish lore. Long ago, people summoned a golem just like this one to protect them. At first, it did exactly what they asked, but without emotions and unable to tell good from evil, it slaughtered the entire community. The rabbi tried to stop the monster by pulling the sacred scroll from its mouth, but a terrified young girl, hoping to kill the golem, approached with a shard of glass. Her movement and the noise sealed the rabbi's fate. Enraged, the golem crushed his skull before escaping. That girl was Perla, and she knows firsthand that trying to create a weapon of protection only leads to even greater destruction. She begs Hannah to abandon her golem before innocent people get hurt. Learning that the golem is immortal and cannot be destroyed, Hannah decides to test it herself. While helping the boy take a bath, she tries to drown him, but it doesn't work. A little later, Hannah steps outside to get clothes for the golem and notices that Benjamin hasn't come home. He's at the house of their neighbor, Sarah, a mother of many children. Assuming her husband is cheating with a woman capable of giving him more children, Hannah becomes furious. The golem senses her emotions and mirrors her rage and bitterness. At one point, Hannah even considers grabbing a knife and killing the traitor, but the moment she sees the face of her deceased son, the thought disappears. Later, while she's sewing clothes for the golem, it becomes clear that he feels her pain, literally. When she pricks her finger with a needle, he reacts as if he felt the stab himself. Meanwhile, Benjamin talks with Sarah and opens up about his troubles. He has dinner with her, but he doesn't give in to her flirtation or temptation. His heart still belongs to only one woman. After rejecting Sarah, he heads home. Moments later, she hears the faint ringing of a bell in her yard. As she looks for the source of the sound, she is suddenly attacked by the golem, who murders her with 2 brutal strikes, a stab to the stomach and another to the throat. In the morning, Hannah wakes to chaos and shouting outside. When she goes to see what happened, she finds Sarah's devastated children and their mother's bloody, mutilated body. Hannah realizes it was the golem's doing, especially when he brings her a gift, Sarah's heart, torn straight from her chest. Benjamin and several other men assume such brutality must have been committed by Vladimir's followers, so they decide to strike back. Believing the only way to drive the enemy out is by force, they turn to Jacob, who has a firearm. The rabbi senses what his son and the other villagers are planning and pleads with them to stop. But despite the leader's warning, the four friends decide to avenge the cruel murder of a defenseless mother. The four Jewish men confront the peasants and try to force them to leave, but the peasants reject their demands. When Jacob raises his gun to shoot one of them, the group attacks both him and Benjamin. Stronger and more numerous, the attackers beat them badly. Benjamin is the only one who manages to fight back. Disarming one of his assailants, he grabs the gun and kills the peasant who was about to crush Jacob with a massive stone. It feels like a small victory, but only for a moment. Vladimir suddenly shoots Jacob in the back, killing him. Benjamin, unable to reload the weapon and lacking experience with firearms, is powerless to fight back or take revenge. One of the peasants from the neighboring village attacks Benjamin, trying to strangle him, but suddenly the man's head explodes. Vladimir realizes that this is the work of the boy with black eyes and understands this is a powerful evil, capable of destroying all life. Attempting to kill the golem, Vladimir fires at it several times, but to no effect. Hannah feels the pain of the shots, yet it doesn't seriously harm either her or the golem. Enraged, the golem decides to kill Vladimir, but Hannah stops him the moment she sees the daughter of the neighboring village's leader. Showing compassion, she lets Vladimir and Svetlana go, warning them that she will punish them if they ever try to return. Watching all this from a distance, the villagers of the Jewish village are thrilled. They realize that the golem is their powerful protector and surround the boy, hoping to touch him. That night, they gather outside Hannah and Benjamin's house, still hoping to see the golem again. Benjamin regards the boy with suspicion and distrust, but stays silent out of fear of his power. Seeing Hannah trying to obey her husband, the golem stabs himself in the leg with a knife so she can feel the same pain he does. A little later, Benjamin decides to play the violin for the golem and notices that the music completely enchants him, making him more obedient and controllable. That night, the couple puts the boy to bed as if he were their own son. Hannah even kisses the golem on the forehead to ensure he sleeps soundly. Once back in their bedroom, Hannah and Benjamin reconcile and make love without any protective potion. Meanwhile, Perla sneaks into their home and climbs to the attic with one goal: to kill the golem. Using ancient spells, she tries to dominate the boy to extract a scroll from his mouth, but the golem resists. Hours later, Benjamin wakes to find blood dripping from the ceiling onto his pillow. Going up to the attic, he discovers an old chest, and instead of his son's belongings, he finds Perla's bloodied corpse inside. Terrified, Benjamin begs his wife to come to her senses and flee. She hasn't created a protector, she's created a demon, one without human feelings or emotions. He feels no regret or remorse, and he will kill anyone who threatens him or Hannah. Benjamin pleads with her to stop, but Hannah is too attached to the golem, treating him like the son she lost long ago. Understanding this, Benjamin turns to his father for help. The rabbi suggests gathering the minion once more and casting the pulse to renew a death curse on the golem. Magic can only be defeated by magic, and 11 strong-willed men could overcome the evil, turning the golem back into earth, sand, and clay. Some time later, Benjamin returns home with reinforcements. Using the violin and the golem's favorite melody to lure him out, the group traps him inside the synagogue. There, the rabbi and the men attempt to kill the golem with a powerful curse. Their plan starts to work. The golem freezes, and sand begins pouring from him in every direction. Hannah feels the boy's pain and tries to stop the men, but the doors to the monastery are locked, keeping her out. The rabbi blows the sacred horn, strengthening their magic, and it seems victory is within reach. At the same time, Vladimir's daughter dies from the plague, compounded by the fact that the healer didn't make it in time to help Svetlana. Losing not only his daughter but also the last shred of his humanity, Vladimir decides to keep his word and destroy the Jewish village. He, along with several dozen men wearing plague masks, marches toward the neighboring village with torches in hand. Setting houses on fire, they kill anyone who dares step outside. They show no mercy, slaughtering anyone who gets in their way. Vladimir spots Hannah and, seeing her as the embodiment of evil, attacks her. After striking her on the head, he decides to finish off the golem's creator with an axe blow to her chest. The chaos outside forces Benjamin to stop playing. The moment he lowers his violin, the magic controlling the golem fades. In a violent surge, the golem drives its horn into the rabbi's stomach, killing him and several other men brutally. Sensing that Hannah is in danger, the golem searches for her and kills Vladimir, tearing out his heart just moments before the fatal axe strike. After that, the golem unleashes its full power, destroying everyone who invaded their village. Not distinguishing between good and evil, the golem kills anyone who comes too close, including innocent villagers. Seeing that almost no one has survived and the entire village is burning, Benjamin pleads with Hannah to finally stop the golem. Recognizing he is right, Hannah kisses the boy and pulls the scroll from his mouth. The golem dies, returning once more to clay, earth, and sand. It seems the story has come to an end, but the orphan daughter of the late Sarah finds the very same scroll. She decides to keep it, intending to one day use it to bring the golem back to life. Who's truly responsible for the evil done by a being created as a tool of man, the creator or the creation? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.